and Joran plus Maud's recording from Belgium. So it'll be simple. Let's keep it simple and let's not get stressed, too formal, stay casual. Your presentation, we listen to it, then we ask our questions, we discuss it all together. Okay. And then we move on to the next presentation. So let's keep it simple. Yeah. Is it all clear?
Yes.
That's fine for us.
Sorry, Joanny, we can't hear you.
I can see Despina now. I don't know if she's here.
Yes, I am here. Give me a second.
Oh, okay,
I'm here.
sorry.
I will open the camera.
I was missing you already.
So yeah, Despina, the floor is yours. Let's begin. Let's educate ourselves on Greece, what this country is.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Что?
Идет на греческом.
Okay, so I should share my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay.
Убрать?
So, hi everyone. My name is Despina. I am from Greece. I live in Athens. And let's begin our presentation. So, let's talk about Greece. Some general information. Greece is a country which belongs to Balkans, and it is located in the southeast part of Europe, close to Mediterranean Ocean. We have lots of islands, almost 6,000, and the biggest of them is Creta. I don't know if you have heard it. We have a huge history going back from ancient Greece, and the political system that dominates nowadays almost everywhere is democracy and began existing in Athens. Greek is one of the most ancient spoken languages until today. So about education, back in ancient Greece, people used to educate not only their minds, but also their bodies and their imagination. And there is a really famous Greek expression about it, is nous υγιείς and soma υγιή, which means that if you have a healthy mind, you can have a healthy body. And there are lots of famous Greek philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, and Hippocrates, and much more, who laid down the foundations of philosophy, medicine, and mathematics. So, the Greek education system has changed a lot from ancient Greece until now. We have 3 basic categories. The first one is primary education, the second one secondary education, and then higher education. In primary education, we have 2 categories. The first one is kindergarten, which durates for 1 to 2 years. And then the primary education, which is compulsory and durates for 6 years. Okay, as far as the secondary education is concerned, we have junior high school, which is known in Greek as gymnasium. So it is compulsory also, and the duration is 3 years. And then we have lyceum, which is high school, which is not compulsory. But if you want to go, for example, and attend courses in the university, you have to go through it. And then we have higher education, which means universities and polytechnics, like technological educational institutes and colleges. The duration of them is 4 years, but if you attend medicine or some technological colleges, it can be not 5, or 6 years. So let's go to the advantages and disadvantages of Greek education system. One of the most important advantage for me is that here in Greece, education is for free. So everyone can have the chance to have access in education. And except English, during primary school, we have the chance to attend the second foreign language. For me, for example, was French. Also, schools and universities here in Greece are public, but also we have private, but the majority of them are public. And we have a higher educational level and knowledge. And what I'm trying to say is that the level of knowledge and education that we can receive from universities is so high that most of scientists that are working abroad in some big organizations come from Greece. So it's really important. So regarding the disadvantages, from 2015 we faced some economic crisis here in Greece, and we're still facing some problems, some economical difficulties. So this has affected our education, and we don't have the appropriate facilities. In schools, for example, I mean the appropriate technological equipment or the equipment for sports. And two new rules that our government decided to vote recently is the appearance of police in universities, which is a disadvantage for me in the field of education, and they are trying to make the equation of the degree of public universities and colleges like the same. And also, the way of teaching in schools often is not efficient and sufficient. So, especially in the last year of high school, we have to attend some courses, some extra courses in academic tutorings. So to continue, something interesting about our educational system is that in the last year of high school, we have some exams, which are known as Panhellenics. In order to go to attend the courses in university, we have to go through these exams. And from my own experience, I can say that this year was one of the most difficult years of my life in school, because you have to study 24 hours per day. You have to make so much effort, and in order to reach a good score and attend a good undergraduate study in a university here in Greece or wherever you want in Greece. So it's really tough this year, and you have to study a lot. But then you can understand that because during these exams, our main goal is to reach a high score in these exams. But after that, you can understand that this is not the main point of life. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and you can find other choices except going to university. You can go to a college, or you can do something else that you want and fulfill you. To continue, some keywords for professional success. I think it's everywhere the same in every country. So if you want to be successful in your job or during an internship through your undergraduate studies, the education plays an important role. How active you are in the society. I mean, whatever you do plays a really important role in your CV and in your career. If you love, for example, learning new languages, or you're doing some volunteer work, your desire and your ambitions too, your experience and your skills and what you're capable of doing. Last but not least, do younger people want to live from Greece? The answer for me is obvious, is yes, because I am one of them. I want to live from Greece, but then I'm thinking that if I will live from Greece, my friends, my family, everyone will leave Greece, then who is gonna stay here? And the main point is that here in Greece, things are not so good. I mean, you cannot find easily a well-paid job. The salary is not good, even for surviving. So if you want to live a better life, we don't have any other option. And it's true that almost 100,000 Greek people every year decided to move to another country. And some of the countries that Greek people take the decision to move are Germany, USA, United Kingdom, Australia, but generally Greek people are everywhere. So that was my presentation, and thank you so much for your attention and your time. I hope you liked it.
Yeah,
Very much.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Despina. I got a couple questions, but maybe we guys have some other questions. You? What do you think? Yeah, I could start. Despina, you know what interests me is if I'm a student and I want to get a good internship, or I want to get a good job after graduation, how necessary is it for me to get a master's degree? If I just get bachelor's degree, is it enough?
Well, yeah, I can say yes and no at the same time. I mean, it is not obligatory to do a master, to attend a master, because you can find the work too. But the more you do, the best is for finding a good internship and a good job here.
Do you know examples of students who actually found a nice internship while they were studying in bachelor, doing their bachelor?
Yes. One of my friends from university, she did her internship in where it was in the Ministry of I don't remember exactly, but in a ministry. So she was during her undergraduate studies, and the position that she had was really interesting for her and for her studies. So yes, you can find something good even having your bachelor degree.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one question. So it is such a painful question for all Russian students. Like, is it hard to enter to the university for scholars in your country?
You mean the exams that we have from the last year to enter university?
Yes. So is it enough just to pass this exam, or you should pass it excellent to study in university?
Okay, good. So we have some choices. The best score that you can have is almost 20,000, and then keeping low. So you can attend courses in a university having a score like 6,000 points. That it's something that it depends to you and your effort that you have made during the last year of high school. But yes, you have options. You can find something, even if you don't reach a high score.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's nice that you don't have to pay for your education.
Yeah.
You know, over here it's very different.
You have to pay?
Yeah, Elena will say about this more. Yeah.
We have a presentation.
Yeah, that's why I said that it's really important for me that here you don't have to pay for education generally, even for university.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's great.
Guys, any other questions? Then my second question, okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How is the situation with Athens students and students from remote regions of Greece? What's the difference between them in terms of educational opportunities? If I may, for example, yeah, I think you got my question.
Yeah, I mean, I was studying in Athens, and the opportunities that you have in capital are more that rather than studying in another place of Greece. But I can say that as far as polytechnics, for example, is concerned, the facilities and teachers are more highly in a highly level knowledgeable in these places rather than in Athens, you know, in the biggest places in Greece. I don't know if I answered your question, but definitely in Athens, the opportunities are more and the options that you have.
All right, makes sense, yeah, makes sense. Guys over there, maybe Gilbert, Kendra, Joanna, Joran, Raymond, maybe you have some thoughts to share. If not, then we will move on to you, Raymond.
Yes.
All right, Raymond. So let's talk about Estonia.
Yes. Moment. So can you see it and hear me as well? Yes.
Yeah, all fine. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yes, hello again. My name is Remet Tokas and I'm from Estonia, and at the moment I'm studying in the University of Tartu in my master's physical geography and landscape ecology, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Estonian education system through my eyes and experience. Yes, маленький крутой presentation. So start off with a brief statistical overview of Estonian schools and universities. Overall, there's about 500 general educational schools, like basic school, gymnasium altogether. And the last recent years, the number has declined because many schools have been closed, especially in the rural areas, and also joined together, like some sort of governmental gymnasiums are funded. And yeah, that's with the schools. And also there's about 153,000 pupils. If you consider the Estonian population about 1.3 million, so it's a little bit less than 10%. A little bit more, yes. And general education schools. I think I made a mistake there. Okay. The data was for, I'm not sure anymore. Okay. But to sum up the general educational schools topic, then in the end of the high school, it's 12 grades. You have to do 3 exams: Estonian, English, and mathematics. In mathematics, you can choose wide or narrow. And then with the wide mathematics, you could access to different areas, basically all fields you want, doctors and so on. But they changed it like 7 years ago, right after I graduated gymnasium. And before that, we had to do like choose 3 exams, Estonian, English, and like third was voluntary, which you could choose. And there was like, you could choose every subject, like geography, chemistry, physics, and so on. And now they changed it, narrowed it out to 3. And for example, if you want to like start medicine studies in the University of Tartu, which is here, also my university, then you like have to they take the 30% of your points from the Estonian exam and 70% the wide math or like biology exam, which is done in the university. Yes, and overall there are 13 universities and 45,178 students at the moment, and among them there's about 5,500 exchange students, and the most popular fields to study in are in bachelor's are business, administrative law, humanities and arts, and the third is IT. And on the bottom of the corner on the right, that's the Technical University of Tallinn. And then to compare those two universities, I would like to say they are the main and the biggest universities in Estonia. And to compare them, like this is like, so to say, American type campus university. Like basically here are the dormitories and you can spend your whole student years like 500 meters away from your bed and your lecture hall. In Tartu, you have to move around the city, like their old buildings were the old faculties built at the beginning of the last century, and you could move through the town between the lectures, and it's a really nice, really beautiful town to study in, like the wisdom capital of Estonia, and definitely university city in Estonia. And talking about the pros and cons of Estonian educational system, talking about some statistics, data, I don't know if you've heard of the PISA assessment or the program of international student assessment. It's done by OECD countries, organization to different youngsters aged 15 years old, and they evaluate like different skills like reading, math, and science. And here are the top 10s of Estonia, and on the 10th place is Slovenia, which we all love. Yes, and I would like to say, so with these statistics and my experience, like we're pretty okay, pretty good education system in the European terms, also in the terms of the world. And also it's free. You don't have to pay, like if your children go to school. Also in university, in general educational schools, it's all free. And also the law came through that school lunches until the end of the gymnasium are also free, which is helpful. And then especially in high school, in gymnasium, like we at my school there were like really interesting subjects, for example, in like philosophy, where we could talk and discuss about different topics like abortion, veganism, and the origins of communism, how National Socialism developed, the theoretical part, so to say practice, what happened, what went wrong, and then like all the discussion, like seeing the different sides of different topics, like politely without filter, like you could talk, and like in this class where there were like no wrong answers, like the teacher like encouraged you to take stand and argue, and it was really cool. Really, I think one of the most mind-opening subjects in my gymnasium time. And also, like as you all know, Estonia is IT country, and all this together, the educational system definitely develops more IT professionals, and it really took off at the beginning of this century, but like the seed was put into the ground after Estonia regained its independence by our first president, Lennart Georg Meri, who started the Tiger Jump, and it was the whole IT technology advancements in schools, and like every school must have a proper computer class. We must have like e-study system where we can see homework, grades, and so on. Like he really rebooted it and then started it. And basically, mainly thanks to that man, Estonia is what it is at the moment. And also a really cool program is Young Teachers Program, where basically like you have bachelor degree, let's say, in some subject. I have in geography, and I joined this program. And after 1 year, I can become a teacher. And at school, like I passed the course for becoming a teacher, and the subject knowledge I have from my degree. And also like I have a friend who studied food technology, and she taught chemistry in gymnasium. So like it depends on you. What do you suggest? What do you like? Also these answers here, like the long ones, I asked some of my friends for the input from the questions which Alexander sent. So yes, some are like this, the old-fashioned and the Soviet, so to say, Soviet mentality teachers. Like I think you all have met one, like those stubborn teachers who like live only in black and white life, and there's only like wrong and like her or his answer and the wrong answer, and then that's that. Like these kind of teachers aren't that motivating, and I think every country has them, but that was brought out. And then also the teachers' salaries are really low, like taxes off. Let's say you're like a basic school physical education teacher, you get like 1,000 euros taxes off every month. So in the terms of the stress and all the work they have to do, I think it's definitely not enough. And interesting controversies and trends in Estonian educational system. One, so to say, hot topic is the educational system among Russian-speaking Estonians, so to say, Russians in Estonia who are mainly situated in the northeast of Estonia. In Ida-Virumaa is the county, and then Narva, Jõhvi, Kohtla-Järve are the biggest towns there, and also a lot of those kind of people are in Tallinn, for example, Lasnamäe district, Mustamäe. And then like there's been so many debates, and like different governments have taken different stands about this. And then actually I don't really mind it, because like they live in Estonia, they get all the benefits, they have Estonian citizenship, and then like if they learn in Estonian, I think it opens more windows to them in the future if they can take part of all the benefits. And yes, and as I already mentioned, the closing of small rural schools, it's really negative trend. And also the conscription in Estonian Defense Forces after gymnasium or bachelor degree. Yes, like basically every 18 plus male in Estonia, healthy male, has to go through 8 or 11 months of Defense Forces service. I did it after bachelor's, and I really liked it because like after the bachelor's, like the last year of bachelor's was crazy, hard subjects and bachelor's thesis and so on, lots of stress. And like for 11 months, I could, so to say, take a rest on taxpayers' money, fool around in the forest, shoot guns, put needles into people's ears. I trained as combat medic, learned new skills, met new awesome people, worked out and so on. So, and after that, I was very motivated and started my master's studies. So definitely a con to me, like a pro to me, yes. And then it depends on a person. Like some say, like, I want to get this off my back. They do it right after the gymnasium graduation. But yeah, that depends on the person, and also the brain drain. I think every country has that, like, so to say, the brighter minds go seek for more adventures, more challenges, and then go study abroad, and then they develop families and then stay there, and so to say, like the loss of a very smart person in Estonia. But it depends, like some people come back even if they're in their 40s or so, like because they want their children to learn Estonian, and or they want to be old here and join their pension here. So it also depends, but yes, it's a problem in a way. And then the destination countries for students, definitely nearby countries in Scandinavia, especially Finland, because of salaries. Builders go there, cleaners, doctors. Of course, like the salaries in Finland are higher, but like if you go live in Finland, like the expense of living there is also quite high. So like, so to say, you wouldn't be richer than in Estonia, like, but if you would, let's say, like, be like a builder, live like 10 people in a flat, work hard, and for 3 months and come back to Estonia and then go back, then you make crazy good money. But like other than that, no. And I would like to say, and also Sweden for schools, for economy, like in Stockholm, in Uppsala, and so on, and also UK, USA, Germany are the destination countries for students, definitely. And then entering the job market after graduation, like Despina said, like I think all the characteristics which are looked in from the candidates, I think they're all the same all around, like hardworking, motivated, precise, and so on, and like it doesn't matter what school have you graduated, like you have to be competent in the field, and then do your job and do what you love and love what you do, as they say. And then different opportunities, how to find offers, career days in governmental agencies, in private firms, career days in university. For example, for the high school graduates, you can like book a time with the university and they do a tour and you can ask questions and so on. And also every faculty has email lists where they lecturers or firms send their applications, and yeah, it's really convenient. I found really awesome job from the faculty email. Yes. And then yes, and that's that. And this is the two picture of random university students who are thinking that the country has the best education system, and also at the same time looking forward to the graduation. Спасибо за внимание. Thank you.
Like the last picture.
Спасибо. Thank you, Emmett. That's so much information at once. It's a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Не за что.
Nice.
By the way, we have a partner agreement with the Estonian University by the program of CMAN education. I don't know if you heard about it earlier, but maybe do you want someday to study in Russian university? Because so here is the UNESCO chair.
I want to ask, like, mainly the studying is in Russian, or you have like English programs also?
Well, yeah, we have we have English programs not only in the State University of Management, but in some university in Russia. So, just your opinion, maybe your plans for the future.
Yeah, Remit, if you were offered to study in Russia, would you come for free?
I think
I have to think about it. I think I'm gonna end my academical career with masters. I definitely want to visit Russia because you have amazing country, like beautiful nature and cool history, culture, and nice certain type of beverages, which I enjoy, and yeah, but like study, no, like I've seen the offers also in our mailing list, but rather no, but visit definitely, yeah.
Because for geography we have really big territory, the biggest.
True. That's
Yes.
the biggest, so to yes.
So a lot of opportunity to your profession. Sure.
Yeah, it was a very polite response. Thank you.
Diplomatic.
Yes.
Actually, since we're talking about partner universities, I met a girl in Germany and she wanted to come here to the State University of Management to her exchange semester. But since Corona happened, she couldn't do it. And I was so sad because it would be so nice to meet somebody here who you met in another country where you studied before. And
That's really
so sad that she couldn't do it. And actually, to other students, they wanted to go to St. Petersburg University. Yeah, that's it.
Remit, guys, it's also a question to all of you, and I think Remit, if you answer it, it will be great. Let's talk quickly about, so to say, major change. So if you study geography now, and if you suddenly, I don't know, something strikes you in the street, and you decide to study IT, or you want to be a business administration student, can you easily do it, or you have to pass some additional exams to change your direction?
I can start it. In Estonia, it goes back to the same exam results. Let's say, like, actually, I had that thought, like, I started to study geography, and then I was like, maybe I should have studied biology, and it was like, maybe I should change. You can do that before a year and a half of your bachelor studies. So before the half of your bachelor studies, you can change and start from point zero. Like, let's say in biology, and like geography and biology in bachelors have like same fundamental subjects, and you can like take them over. So like you have already touch them, and like they count them also, like you don't have to do them again because you study on another field. And if you're past that mark, that 1.5 year mark, then you have to wait 6 years to start on the taxpayers' money studying and then. But if you want to do it sooner, you can pay and do it. But other than that, no, yeah.
Guys, what about you?
I will say this about Belgium. It's a bit different. If you start up with, like, for example, economics, and after 1 year you are like, I don't like this, or you don't pass the grades, you don't get the grades, then you can change. But in Belgium we have a system that we get 180 ECTS when you start, so you lose all the ECTS you failed for. But I will say this: if you have like a degree like me, I'm a criminologist. If you want to do something else after, you can easily do it by only doing like a preparation course, which is like a couple of courses, but not like a full bachelor. So, for example, I have a master's in criminology, and now I'm doing a master's in business economics. I didn't need to fulfill like a full bachelor's in economics because that wasn't necessary. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot of time. But I only needed to do like 1 year of preparation, and I'm already in my master's, so it's a bit different.
Oh, I didn't know you did a year of preparation for it.
Yeah, like 1 year. Still
Because
doing
in
it.
Slovenia, your preparation.
No.
There was another kind of preparation for the stuff. Yeah.
Okay, in Portugal, I can say it depends on the change. Like I took mathematics for the bachelor. If I wanted to change for applied mathematics, I could change easily and I would have some courses already done. But if I wanted to change for something related to letters, I would have to do some extra exam, the ones that we do in secondary school. So it depends on the change, if it is a big change from the fields or not. And in the masters, it really depends because we have to apply to each university and we don't need an exam. And it depends on our background stuff. So I can say for the masters, because it depends on application. If there is many people applying and they fit better, they are the ones chosen.
Mm. But the exams you talked about, are they demanding?
Yeah,
if you're not
in the
prepared
secondary school to finish it, they are demanding it, and also to apply to university. Yeah, they are the access exam. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
In Germany, it's actually like kind of similar. Like for bachelors, you can study whatever you want. Like if you want to study IT, you go with IT. If you want to study management, medical stuff. But for your masters, like for most IT courses, IT programs, you have to have a certain knowledge in certain areas. So, for example, for many business administration masters, you need like at least a certain number of ECTS points, credit points in statistics in your bachelor degree. So you cannot randomly choose your masters, but you have to fulfill certain courses. But bachelor, you can like change. After 1 year, you just study something else if you don't like your program.
All right, it's clear. Thanks. Kendra, what could you say?
So I would say it's a bit different in the States. You can change in your bachelor's at any time because you're paying for it, so why wouldn't they want to take your money? But I would say if you're changing drastically within, like between your bachelor's and your master's, then it might be a bit difficult to get into a good program. Other than that, I think it's more or less okay. Also, when you're doing your bachelor's, if you're changing in your 3rd year or something, you can usually keep most of the first 2 years, because we do in the first 2 years what we call our general credits. And those are kind of like in a wide variety of subjects like math, humanities, language, etc. And those are required for every degree. So you can keep a lot of those and transfer them. So you only have to really repeat 2 years, like the last 2 years of your degree. So I think that that's what I would say in the States. It's more easy to change, I think.
Provided that you have the money for it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. So now I think we're ready to proceed with Germany. Gilbert, could you share with us the knowledge about Germany? Deutschland? Deutschland, thank you.
See my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So, I will talk about studying in Germany.
Me.
Yeah, me too, also.
I'm studying in Germany. So some quick facts. Germany, it has a rather important position in the European Union because it's economical and political, very important. It's the 3rd biggest exporter in the world. So if you want to go like into business, into industry, and then like you have good start here in Germany. The student population is rather diverse. We have 320,000 international students here in Germany. Most of them, around 40,000, are from China, and then there's India and other countries, and 10,500 from Russia, all in all. Yeah. Comparably, it's affordable. The cost of living and education, like compared to other, let's say, European countries like maybe Spain, France, UK. But well, compared to Russia, I think it's still more expensive, like cost of living. But education, it's cheaper here, even for foreigners. All in all, in Germany live 83 million people. The life expectancy are 80 years, in case after you graduate here you want to stay and live longer, 80 years on average. And the GDP, if you're interested, is the 3.861 trillion US dollars. I will health insurance. I think it's a big thing you need when you come from a non-EU country, and you maybe even need it for your visa. But like to study at the university, you will need a German health insurance. It's mandatory to live here. Like the most popular from the foreigners I know at my universities, most of them, they went to this TK. It's called Techniker Krankenkasse, and they have their insurance there. It's around 100 euros each month. So you have to get this health insurance because you need a certificate for the university. But like usually you can take care of this certificate when you arrive here. Like you can go then to the health insurance, tell them, oh, I need this, I want it. And if you need one for the visa, usually you can also get in contact with your, like let's say you apply for a semester abroad or for a regular program. You can also usually apply, contact your university where you want to study, and they will help you and they will let you know what you can do. It's pretty physically unsettling living life on a visa because you know it will end. Maybe you don't know how you will get back in times of coronavirus. I had this, like last year I was in St. Petersburg for one semester, and I came in February, and eventually all the borders closed, and my visa expired, I think, beginning of July. But I think I stayed until beginning of September. But like all these things were closed, like consulate and but I think in Germany, like you can also just stay a bit longer, yeah, even after graduation. But I will get to that. Yeah. So the visa, it's important that you, when you arrive to Germany, that you have a student visa and not a tourist visa, because if you arrive on a tourist visa, you will, you will not be able to change that to a residence permit, which you will get when you study here. And it's also important that when you apply for your visa, that you will have a multiple entry visa. Like I put this link, maybe I will send you this, or I think I already sent you, Sasha, the presentation. So if you're interested, like all the up-to-date information, they are on this webpage about the visa, because sometimes these regulations change. But in general, this is, I think, the most important about the visa situation. Cost of living in Germany, as I already said, comparably cheap. The tuition fees don't exist. The only thing we have, we call it administration fee, Semestergebühren. And this is 150 to 300 euros per semester. So for 6 months, it's like you pay up to 600 euros a year, let's say. And usually this administration fee, it includes, it's like for bureaucratical stuff at the university, but it usually also includes a semester ticket where you can, like, the city where you live in, that you can like use public transportation. The place where I study, it's at the Polish border, and it's like 1 hour by train to Berlin, and I can even go by train this 1 hour for free with the semester ticket. For living, the average is overall in Germany, it's I think 861, but this really depends on where you study. Like if you study in Munich, it will be way more expensive because it's one of the most expensive cities in Germany. But if you go to a smaller city, it can start from, let's say, 600 euros, yeah, and to 800 euros, I think, per month is what all you need. And if you consider studying here, then you can put a special emphasis to divide Germany again in East and West, because the East is cheaper than the West, because we had the like overall there's more industry in West Germany than in East Germany. But if you're interested in working, you can go to Berlin, which is like the, how to say, a startup hotspot of Germany. Most of the startups are there. Okay, so costs, these 600 euros, this include rent. Like, for example, you pay 250 euros rent in a student dormitory or less. Then you have this 100 euros insurance cost, 350. And then like cost for living, your shopping, depends on you. But I think to live comfortably, between 600 and 800 euros, you should calculate. About work, as foreign students, when you come here, it's possible for you to work part-time during the studies. So you get a working student position, which is, you can also find many things in English, where you can also, like where you don't need German language to do this work, because it's like helping or it's administrative stuff. And when you study here, you can also stay longer. Like when you graduate, it's possible with your with the visa to prolong it for up to 18 months, so more than a year. You have time like to find work, and when you find work, of course, then you apply for the working visa, and you will be able to basically stay as long as you want, as long as you have work. This is a pretty simple process. The university I study at, it's a European university. It's located at the border to Poland. I wanted to make some advertisement because it's a cool university. I like it. I talked about the semester ticket already. So Brandenburg, it's the state where I live in, and Berlin, like German capital, of course. And you can, this is all included. So many students go to Berlin. If there's no corona, they go there for clubbing or student life. I don't know what students do. At the university overall, there are 34% international incoming students every semester. So these are between around 200 to 300 students usually come per semester, and like from Latin America, Russia, Turkey, and also, of course, EU countries. Some from the US also. The environment is very personal because it's a small university, actually one of the smallest in Germany. But through this, you have direct contact to administrative offices and professors. So it's no problem if you have questions after a lecture, you can just approach them. Or if you have problems with, I don't know, administrative things. Usually it's very simple to go to the office and talk to the people, and they're very happy to help you and assist you. Especially for Russian students, or like the people I met here in Frankfurt Oder that came from Russia. They liked that they can go to Poland if you just have to cross the bridge and you're in Poland. And then in Poland you have like more, let's say, Slavic products, like grechka or smetana, things that you don't usually find in German supermarkets. And yeah, as I already said, 1 hour to Berlin. So, and also if you do your groceries in Poland, it becomes even cheaper, the cost of like living, yeah, because yeah, it's cheaper. So Paka, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. Well, I can begin, but if you guys have questions, let's ask. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your presentation very much. I would like to know, from a part of a foreigner, what was the most difficult thing for you while you were studying in Russia? For example, maybe in our educational process, something unfamiliar?
Oh, the most difficult thing about studying in Russia?
Yeah.
Well, you have lots of bureaucracy. I remember when I had to change the visa, like I got a visa for, I think, only 2 months, and like only a single entry visa. And then once I was there, I had to change that. And without the help of a tutor, I think it would have been very difficult to, like, just to find the place. It was like in some dormitory, in some room, and you really had to ask, and also the tutor, she had to ask, and it was, yeah, but I don't know, like, I think you always get, like, we as students, we have a very good position because we get help from the university, and they always assist us, so it's very comfortable.
Okay, thank you.
Ilin, you had a question, right? They will hear us.
Oh, okay.
But just say it a little more loud, okay?
I have probably not a personal question to you, but main question, do you have scholarships? Like if you're active in university or if you have good grades, something like that?
Stipendium.
Yeah, that's like, actually you have, like, there are many foundations in Germany where you can apply for scholarships, like numerous. And so if you have good grades and you, like, you engage socially in society, it's you're very likely to receive one if you apply for it. And yeah, like from the DAAD, a German foreign exchange, academic exchange, something. Sasha, you know this, yeah? DAAD.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. I've researched enough on this topic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's possible, like, to get funding.
Thanks. It's quite flattering.
Gilbert, I'm sorry. Yeah. Gilbert, then I have another question. I personally, maybe some of the guys here share this as well. I personally would love to come to Germany for work, maybe for a couple of years, for a couple of months. We'll see. But is there, when it comes to an employer, a German employer hiring a student, a graduate, is there any more preference toward German graduates than foreign graduates? If provided that the work will be done fully, let's say, fully in English, will the German employer rather hire a German than a foreigner?
I guess that depends from where the foreigner is, and also on your grades. But usually, some employers even like mandate that you have to, like, have this certified, your degree, that it's certified in Germany. You're, like, recognized, yeah. But if the work is in English, it's, I think they would, of course, they would prefer German education system, I think, usually. But, like, if you're outstanding, which you are, right?
Oh, I don't know, but you are, for sure.
Then, like, it's like, if you have good academic background, you have work experience. I think if you already have work experience, and then come after studies, I think that's the best you can do. Like, through numerous internships, then it's easier to get, like, accepted as employee.
So when are you about to graduate?
In summer.
In summer. So would you say, well, what would you say for a German student of business economics, business administration, management stuff? What is key to find a good job, to get an internship? What is key for you? How do you think, what does the employer mostly value to the largest extent?
Internships, like that you did work, especially since 10% of all students in Germany studying like management or business administration, because like after A levels, many Germans, they're like, I don't know what to do, so they're I will just study business administration.
Same here. Yeah.
So 10% of all students in Germany are business administration. So it's quite competitive. But if you have, like during your studies, if you were able to do internships and experience abroad, these are major points. Like that will also, there's also a relation towards income, that it's higher when you have an exchange experience.
Can I ask one more question? Well, thank you. I have one question. Let's talk about education more and a little bit about dreams. So I really want to study in Germany. Like I want to enter the university to study in magistracy. And what should I do to successfully enter to the university in the Germany? Like what the level of German language should I have? What conditions should be? And what documents? Maybe you can give some advices.
Now about the documents, good question, yeah. But like it depends whether your study program will be in German or in English. There are many English programs also.
Okay.
If it will be in German, you probably need a German level of B2. And you will probably also need a certificate for that.
Certificate.
But I think, Kendra, you know more about this.
Actually, yeah, maybe I do. You do need, if you're studying in German, yeah, no worries. If you're studying in German, you do need a certificate. Usually you can take standardized tests. There's the TestStaff, the DSH, I think TELC. There are a few different ones, and you have to look at the specific university that you want to go to and see what level of which of those tests and which of those tests they will accept. So, for example, I took the TestStaff. I'm not studying in German, but I did take the TestStaff. And all universities in Germany, if they take the TestStaff, they take the TND4 level and above. So you have to look at specific universities and exactly which tests and what level they require. And then, of course, you need all the stuff for your residence permit for going to Germany. For getting in, you have to look and see if it's a restricted, if it's a restricted program, which they call numerus clausus, which means that you have only a certain amount of places, and then you have to have a certain grade in order to get into that program in that semester, and it changes from semester to semester depending on who applies. So it's kind of like a big thing. You also have to see, because you're coming from outside the EU, what the requirements are to get your education recognized in Germany, your education prior to your studies. So this is a huge thing. Like in the States, if you come from the States, you have to have 2 years of higher education in the field that you want to study before you can apply for Germany. And I don't know what it is for Russia, but you have to check that stuff because I did not. And I now have a very interesting situation because of that. Yeah, I don't know what other documents you might need, or do you have any other questions about that? I have lots of experience.
Okay, I suppose we'll contact with you in time when I will go deep to this question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. So we began the event with a very warm country, Greece, and now we're back to a warm country again. It's Portugal. Joanna, thank you very much for coming, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm trying to share, but this takes a bit of time. It's still doing something here, thinking. I don't know why it takes so long.
Then I can talk something about the numerus clausus, maybe.
Yeah, please. It's taking so long.
It changes every year. but it depends also from the university. Like in Germany, like internationally, it's highly ranked in Germany education. But like there are schools or universities that are better in Germany than others. For example, Heidelberg, it's the best one for medical studies. So if you're not from the top of your class, you will have to wait a couple of years until they approve you. Similar, I think, to what Rimet said earlier, that you have to wait until you get into a space. But if you go to apply for a different university, it might be possible that you have like less good grades, let's say, and still get accepted.
I think I have to leave and come back because it's not working. Sorry. It worked with Alex when we tried. I don't know. 1 minute, okay?
Sure. Maybe you need to connect again.
She's doing that.
And about the education, is it easily to get expelled in universities?
I didn't hear.
Is it quite easy to get expelled in a university?
Expelled? Oh, I hope you're not coming to Germany to try to be expelled.
I understand, but is it a usual thing or it happens quite rarely?
I think it happens quite rarely. Like you have to fail an exam 3 times before they expel you from the university.
I also heard that if you're expelled, you're not allowed to do your bachelor's degree in the same field anymore. Is it true?
So, for example, let's say you have course mathematics, like 6 credit points, and you fail this course 3 times. Then in whole Germany, every higher education where you can do a graduate, like a doctoral studies, like so in universities, you are not allowed to study any program which includes this subject, mathematics. You're like expelled from it. If you fail it 3 times, you're screwed, or you go to another country. It happened to a friend of mine. He failed in the second year. He failed 3 courses the 3rd time, and then he went, okay, I will study something else, and he went to, I don't know, I think Belgium or Netherlands, and like he's not studying business administration. He was like, okay, maybe it's not for me.
I'm ready. I don't know if you want to keep going on talking. I don't mind.
I was just making conversation.
No,
thank you.
No, let's listen to you. Otherwise, it will take us all too much time.
And all about Germany, right? Okay, let's. Are you seeing? No, I think it's still. No, I hope you are seeing it.
Yes. Yeah, we see it well. Yeah.
Okay. I'm from the south of Portugal, and it is a pleasure to be here with you, as I said before. We are the most western country in Europe, more than 10 million people, and we are known for our good weather and amazing beaches, as you can see here. On the left, we have Lisbon, the capital, and on the right, the region I am from, Algarve. To understand our culture, I think it is mandatory to talk about history, and I will do it, but just briefly, don't worry. We are a country of more or less, and this should appear something here. Why is everything going so bad?
We can turn on our imagination.
No, I prepared stuff and now I'm not appearing. It says I only have. Oh my god, why? I could go on, but I really want you to see. Sorry. Let's try again.
Oh, okay. No. So, you want?
Okay, maybe you should do the next person.
Yeah, I think so. Joanna, and while the next person is giving the presentation, you could try to work this out.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No, it's completely fine. Thank you.
Maybe you can send it to Alexander and he can show the slides and you can talk.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps. Yeah, send the presentation over to me. And then, so after Portugal, we were supposed to listen to the United States, to Kendra. So Kendra, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will just figure this out. Let's see where they head.
Yay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
USA.
Thank you. I tried to make it very patriotic. So as you know, I'm from the US. I'm from Oregon, more specifically. And I'm going to jump right into education because I think you know kind of a bit generally about the US anyway. So I'm just going to go straight into it. The education structure looks like this. Basically, there's elementary school, which is grades 1 through 4, middle school, which is grades 5 through 8. Sometimes those are put together in one school, and then it's grades 1 through 8 in the same school, but sometimes it's separate. There's not really any reason for it, just depends on the school. Then there's also high school, which is grades 9 through 12, and elementary school, middle school, and high school are all required. And then there is an alternative to high school, which is just taking a test, which is called a GED, but most people just go to high school. It's not a big deal. And then there's higher education, which is split into kind of 3 categories, which is community college, college, and university. And the main difference between those is what kind of degree you can get there. So at a community college, you can only get a 2-year degree, which we call an associate's degree, which is more or less what I talked about earlier, your generals. It can have a little bit of a focus, but it's mostly just kind of like a very general education. And then you can go to a college or university after that to get the rest of your bachelor's. And at college and a university, you can get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. And I believe if you want to get a doctorate, you have to go to a university because colleges don't really specialize in research. So that's really the main difference. But I wouldn't say that universities overall are better than colleges. It's more just what opportunities are there for which degrees. So talking about elementary school and high school, when you're talking about public schools, they are funded by local taxes. So this means basically that if you live in a poorer community, all the people in your community are earning less, and therefore they are paying less in taxes, which means that your local schools are going to get less money from the government, and then they have less money to buy new textbooks and good equipment, sports facilities, supplies, etc. So it kind of creates a bit of a cycle of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, because obviously the people who live in the neighborhoods which are a bit richer in income, and of course it's more expensive to live there, they also have the better education system. So then they can get better education and get into better universities to get better quality degrees and then get higher quality jobs with higher paying salaries, and it kind of becomes a bit of a cycle. But that's kind of just generally the way that it's built. And we do have some really, really high quality education, but we also have some places that have really low quality education, and it's very based on your community. Also, generally, Americans, I would say, are very notoriously undereducated about the rest of the world. So I'm sure you've seen those videos of Americans just being completely ignorant about what goes on outside of their own country. I wouldn't say that that's entirely wrong. I told someone that I was studying in Germany and they asked me if it was a state or a country, and that happens sometimes. I think that part of that is that we have very low language and geography requirements in school. So me personally, I was required to learn the states and the capitals and like a few countries in Europe, maybe, as far as geography goes, and nothing really more than that. And in high school, you're only required to take 1 year of foreign language. And in elementary school and middle school, there's no foreign language requirements. So we just have very low requirements for those things because if we're being honest, we don't need it that much. A lot of people who are from the States stay in the States. And then, yes, I would love it if people were more aware of the rest of the world, but practically speaking, I understand why they don't have more of that education, even if I think that it would be beneficial. So moving on to higher education, I would say that one of the greatest things about our higher education system is that we have some of the best universities in the world, like Stanford, Caltech, MIT, Harvard, basically any university that you have heard of in an American TV show or movie are pretty good, I would say. And the other thing is what I said before, I think it's an interesting thing that we have kind of our general credits that you have to do if you're going to do a bachelor's degree, and everyone has to do them. And it's based on this idea that people should have a well-rounded education in order to be a productive member of society. But the thing about that is that it is very costly to go to the university. So I'm sure that you're kind of aware of the fact that it is expensive. Tuition is actually paid more on a credit basis. So if you're taking more credits in one semester than another semester, you will pay more in that semester. But of course, you need the same credits overall. But then because of that, you can also retake classes. It's no problem because you're paying for it. They don't mind if you do that over and over again. And to give you an idea, the average private university tuition for 1 year is $50,900. The average public university tuition for 1 year is $25,290, and this is the in-state tuition. So public universities have two tuitions. There's one for in-state, so people who are residents of that state, and sometimes they also include the surrounding states. And then there's the out-of-state tuition. So if you're from outside the area, you have to pay a much higher tuition, and it's about twice as much. I think it's about 45 is the average. So very expensive. My sister-in-law, for example, has $150,000 in debt, and she did do her bachelor's and her master's, but it's still quite a lot. And to make matters worse, your tuition doesn't cover everything. So if you have books or materials, so textbooks that you need for class or materials, like if you're taking an art class or anything that requires physical materials, you have to pay for those yourself. They're not included in tuition at all. So that is definitely something to also take into consideration. But of course, there are ways to pay for college. And one of those is federal aid. So this is money from the government. The problem with this is that it's based on need. So basically you send in the taxes of your parents from, I think it's 2 years ago or something, and they decide whether your parents make too much. And if they make too much, you don't get any money. And they basically calculate how much money that they will give you for your education based on your parents' income. And needless to say, it's not a lot. Even if you do get money from the government, it does not cover all of your costs, and you will still have quite a bit to pay, I would say. But then that's where scholarships come in. You can get scholarships for a lot of things. You can apply to a lot of kind of general scholarships, but then there are sports scholarships, scholarships for exceptional grades. If you have like a really amazing life story, they might give you especially more, things like that. It, again, usually does not cover all costs. So it'll give you a certain amount of money, but usually doesn't cover everything. There is one exception, though. There are things called full ride scholarships. And that's why when you're watching like an American movie based in a high school, you might hear all of the sports people talking about getting a full ride scholarship if they do really well. And that's why it's such a big deal, because it's saving them literally tens of thousands of dollars, because that would pay for their entire tuition for their whole degree. So it's a huge deal. And that's why it's such a big topic in media. But it's also very rare. So I would say most people definitely do not count on that. They just apply for as many scholarships as possible, try to get federal aid, and otherwise they take out student loans. That's just the reality. Alex sent a few questions today, and so I also added these this morning. And so I would say the key points to get an internship while studying. I don't know a lot of people who got an internship. I know a few people who work while studying, and I would say that you should go to things like career fairs, which is basically where a bunch of companies get together and each one has like a station and they try to convince you to work for them. I think those are great. Networking is obviously the biggest thing always for getting a job. Extracurriculars are also very important. So if you were in any sort of leadership in school, if you are like in sports, in anything basically that you were not required to do, anything that goes kind of above and beyond, it shows that you're trying to, I don't know, give back to the community or something, like volunteer work, anything like that looks great. After graduation, if you're trying to get an internship, I would say most people at that point honestly just get a job, not really an internship. And for that, it's kind of, I would say, standard advice like networking, make sure you're applying for the right job that you're actually qualified for. If you have any previous work experience, like internships, that's probably the most valuable thing ever. And extracurriculars also look good in this position because you don't have a whole lot else to show. So yeah, when it comes to whether students want to study abroad, or sorry, whether they want to work abroad, I would say actually, I couldn't find any information on this. Like I looked for, I don't know, some sort of study or blog or anything, no information. But I would say that the majority do not. From my own personal experience, most people want to stay in the States. I think that in general, Americans have kind of an aversion to moving permanently abroad. Like they are more likely to do some sort of exchange or study abroad, but they're not really inclined to stay. I would say I'm more of an exception in that area. But yeah, I think that that's kind of an interesting thing because I think that in a lot of countries, people definitely do want to move out, but Americans kind of like their place. I don't know. So that's, I know it was a lot of information. I tried to kind of cram it all into one short little presentation, but I hope that it wasn't too fast, and I hope that you were able to understand everything and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
Kendra, that was great. Thank you again. I'm sure we have a number of questions, a good number of questions here.
Yeah, can I? Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I must add that I was absolutely shaken by the beauty of the country when we've been to the US. So it's nice to have you here today. So my question would be, don't you know, for a foreigner, is it easy to be provided with the campus or with a place to live by the university, or should we find it by ourselves? So is there a possibility that you would be given living accommodation by the university?
I mean, I think given is maybe not the right term. You do have to pay for room and board, of course, but I would say that most universities have a dorm, and I think, I'm not entirely sure, it probably varies from university to university, but I would say it's very likely that if you're an international student, you would probably be given some sort of priority that you get a place in the dorm. But I would say it's not difficult usually to get a place in the dorm. Of course, it depends on the university, like I said, but overall, I would say that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I got one question. What about health insurance during the studies? Is it expensive, or how can we get it?
That is an interesting question. So the thing about health insurance in the US is that I'm a little bit ignorant as to how it comes, like how it is with international students and things like that, because the majority of US residents get health insurance through their employer or through their parents if you're like a student or younger. So me, for example, when I'm in the States, I'm on my mom's insurance. And that's because she is insured through her employer. So I would actually just suggest you to Google that, because I don't know that. But health insurance, like the health industry in general, is definitely something I have a lot of thoughts on. and it could use some work.
Okay, thank you very much. And do Oregon people often move to California, to work or to live?
No, Oregonians do not like Californians, because actually Californians move to Oregon because it's really nice and pretty and green, but then they don't know how to drive in rain or snow. And yeah, there's a little bit of a rivalry there for sure.
Okay, and as a game of basketball is quite popular in US, how many Oregon people cheer for Portland Trail Blazers? As you may know it, is basketball really popular in Oregon?
Yeah, I would say so. I know a lot of people who go to Blazers games. Actually, one of my best friends, I've known her for like 15 years, and she goes to Blazers games all the time. I personally don't really care about sports for the most part. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of fans.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is my favorite team in the league,
So we've got sports over here.
What dominates in your university life, like the education or some other activities, like different clubs, some events, something like that?
I mean, so just to give you a little bit of an idea, I only went to college in the States for 2 quarters, and I'm doing the rest of my studies in Germany, so I can only give you a little bit of a glimpse into the life there, but I would say probably studies. I know that there are clubs, but as far as I remember, at least at the community college that I went to, people would join clubs and then they wouldn't necessarily last very long, or they wouldn't be, I don't know, people were kind of flaky. So I think that education would really dominate it more. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the question Elena touched on is more about student communities in the universities, where students get together, united by some joint activity.
Projects.
Yeah, some joint projects, doing all that together. Maybe student theaters or basketball club, or as we have over here, English speaking club, So something like this. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I would say there are definitely clubs where people get to know each other. I think that's the thing I heard about most about clubs, actually, is that people go there, they meet people, and then they stop going to the club. Like, they they go there just to meet people. But then there are also, I think you meet most of the people, I would say, in class, because also, like I said, in the first 2 years, you have a lot of general classes. So if you take a language, for example, everyone has to take a certain amount of languages. You will meet people from all walks of life. And when I say that, I really mean that. Like, we had people who were in high school and people who were retired in the same class. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very wide spectrum of people. So I think that you definitely can meet people at clubs, and people definitely do that, but also in your classes.
Thank you. Thank you. So if we're done with questions to the United States, Joanna, hopefully we worked it out.
Let's try again.
I'm sorry, are we in a hurry or can I ask questions?
No, sure, go ahead, Ray.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have three questions. At first, I started to wonder, like, many of my friends have been in the United States selling school books with the Southwestern, like, basically is this like the problem that, like, they can go to a foreign country and sell the books? Is it like basically generated by the funding problems with the elementary, high school, or like or like let's say, like, you have normal books which you receive from the school, and then like you have to or can buy extra some books, like, what's that?
So I think if you're talking about textbooks, and if you're specifically talking about university textbooks, then the issue is that whenever you need a textbook for a class, you have to buy it outside the university, basically. They have like a library where you can buy the books from the university, but you can also buy them externally, and then usually that's cheaper because you're getting it secondhand instead of new, and people are always trying to get rid of their books. So that's definitely an issue, and that's, I'm sure, why they were able to do that.
Okay. But about elementary school or like middle school?
Yeah, so I think that they have to, because they're funded by the government, I think they may be required to buy books from a reputable source, so like from the original source, from a bookstore or something like that. But the issue with funding is definitely, it means that if you go to one school in a poorer neighborhood, they might have a 10-year-old science textbook, and if you go to the richer neighborhood, they're going to have the one from last year, you know, things like that. So it's not that they don't have any textbooks, it's just that they might have very old ones.
Okay. And then the second question, I'm sorry if it's stupid, but like I still like to ask it, like about the stereotypes in high schools, like in the movies, like the quarterback of the football team is the coolest guy and the cheerleader is the most beautiful, and they're a couple and have relationship and stuff, and like how has it changed? How real is it? What's the high school life in real life in United States?
So I wish I could answer that for you. However, I went to a very small religious school. It was a private school, and there were only like 60 kids in our entire high school. So we didn't really have like jocks and cheerleaders, because someone who was playing on the basketball team was also in choir, and they also did like the science club, like everyone kind of did everything. So unfortunately, I didn't experience that. I actually joke that my friend Gina, who went to Texas for a year, really experienced the American high school experience better than I did, but it is what it is.
Okay, yes. Thank you. And that last question, I'd like to ask about fraternities, like are they popular, and how is the attitude towards fraternity members? Like in Estonia, we also have fraternities, but they are kind of different from the fraternities in Russia. I mean, in United States, that like how is the attitude towards them, or like are they popular, and then the parties and all that?
Okay, so I've never I don't have any experience with fraternities and sororities and things like that. I know that they obviously do still exist to this day. I think that at this point, it's actually something that you can like put on your resume, like you were part of a fraternity, and it is actually an achievement. It's not, I don't think that it is what it is in the movies where people just get drunk all the time and don't really care about the university. I think that the people who are in fraternities actually have to have really good grades, and it's more of a legacy type of thing. Like if their parents went to this university and they were in the sorority, then it's really important for them to go into the sorority. But like I said, I don't have personal experience with it. I think that my half-sister was in one, but I'm not actually sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Raymond, so you also asked whether we are familiar with fraternities here.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what this is? No. Look, I am 99% sure nobody knows what a fraternity actually is here.
Okay.
We've known each other for, I think, around a year. You repeatedly told me you have been part of a fraternity.
I still am, yeah.
Yeah, and yes, and each time you were saying me this, I had no clue what this actually is. No, kinda, okay? So, I don't think fraternities are popular to any extent here in Russia.
Okay.
Maybe we're not that knowledgeable in this stuff, but that's what I think.
Okay, but to end the fraternity topic, for example, in Estonia there are Russian heritage fraternities which were formed like in the 19th century from Russian students, and yeah, like yes.
Okay. No, it's a great thing for sure. I think you're lucky to be part of that, and we are unlucky to have none of them. Yeah. That's it. So, yeah. Kendra, thank you very much once again. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
And also, we had Despina in the beginning and then Gilbert, but they both had to leave. But still, many thanks to them. Yeah, Despina is actually working today, right now. Yeah. So, Joanna, have we worked it out?
I think so. Let's
try. Let's try.
Sorry, I had to go now.
Знаешь, в фильмах типа пельмени такие-то.
Now it's doing the opposite it was doing before. Oh no.
Kendra, while Joanna is trying to turn on her present.
I'm going. Okay. Talk. Sorry.
Sure.
I'm gonna try another way to do.
Just, Kendra, a question to you. You mentioned the question of getting a scholarship or a grant that would cover some part of your tuition. Is it really that real to get a grant or scholarship that would cover, let's say, at least 50% of your tuition fee? How real is it, or how is it imaginable?
I mean, they definitely exist. I would say that most people, they apply for a bunch of different scholarships. And so they might kind of get some money from this scholarship, some money from that scholarship, and overall kind of cover a larger amount of their tuition. But I don't think that, like, most people don't get a scholarship that covers half or all of their tuition. But people can get a lot of smaller scholarships that kind of add up to closer to that.
All right.
I'm ready. Finally. I was going to start my history lecture. No, I'm kidding. I'm just going to talk about two important moments of Portuguese history. The first is the discovery period, which we established the first global maritime and commercial empire, becoming one of the world's major economical, political, and military powers. As a result of our intensive maritime exploration, many territories and maritime routes were recorded by us, since the Portuguese sailors were at the vanguard of European overseas exploration and mapped the coast of Africa, Canada, Asia, and Brazil. The big problem of this era was that we didn't just went there and said hello and bought some spices in India. We colonized most places, explored locals, and enslaved them, bringing some people from Africa to Brazil in order to monopolize the sugar production and the search for gold in Brazil. In my opinion, it is not an era of our history to be proud of. However, in school, we learned as being the time when we were the greatest, and we almost didn't talk about the obscure and dark side of it. So I think that's a bad thing in our education. Here we can see where Portuguese went. The second moment is the Carnation Revolution in 1974, so less than 50 years. It was an effectively bloodless military revolution which aimed to overthrow the authoritarian regime of the dictatorship and restore democracy. Its name is due to the fact that almost no shots were fired, and there was a woman offering carnations to the soldiers, as we can see here, when the population took the streets to celebrate the end of the dictatorship, and the carnations were placed in the muzzles of guns and on the soldiers' uniforms. Additionally, it also contributed to the end of the Portuguese colonial war in the African colonies and to the independence of those territories. So it was an important moment in our history. Now I'm going to talk about the main topic. Education in Portugal is free and compulsory until the age of 18, when students usually complete their year 12. The Portuguese education system is divided, like you can see here, and it is usually comprising 3 different schools. The first school corresponds to the first cycle, from 6 to 10 years old children, which then change schools to the second and third cycle from 10 to 15. And finally, at 15, we enter the secondary school until we are 18 years old. And that's where it stops the compulsory school. The secondary school is divided into 5 programs: science and technologies, social and human science, socioeconomic science, visual arts, and professional programs. And each program has different exams on the final year. So that's why when we talked about the admission exams, I was saying that if I was in the, for example, economics, science, I had to take mathematics and Portuguese for the end. And if I wanted to go to, I don't know, literature bachelor, I had to take an extra exam, for example, in philosophy, that it wasn't on my program. But if I had to go to another area, I had to take those. Higher education in Portugal is divided in two subsystems: university education and non-university higher education, which is also known as polytechnic education. The first has a strong theoretical basis and is highly research-oriented. The non-university system provides more practical training and is profession-oriented. They can be divided into public or private. There are 13 public universities and 9 private universities in Portugal, and the universities are constituted by different faculties. Now, some topics we have here. Advantages and disadvantages of the education system. In the secondary school, and starting by the negative side, I think that our schools are too focused on the final national exams that I was explaining, the admission exams, and also the classes are too dependent on the program, not leaving much space for critical thinking. On the other hand, most teachers really want to pass on knowledge and the basis of what we will need in the future. In higher education, it depends a lot from university to university, so it's difficult to talk in general. So I have to rely on my experience. I studied in Lisbon, which has 2 public universities. One is known as classical and the other as the new one. I graduated in mathematics on the classical one, whereas the master's degree I'm taking in the new university in information system management. And the main difference is about the teachers. In the classical, they value more the teachers with more years at the university, and also the ones that are scientific researchers. Whereas in the new one, they give more opportunities to younger teachers and value more the pedagogical skills. In terms of affordability, in public university, the tuition fee is 700. It was more when I studied, or when I took my bachelor degree, it was 1,000. Now it's 700, sorry, for all universities, in public universities. For the private is way more. I don't have the price because it depends. While the master's degree can vary a lot, going from 1,000 to 7,000. Some interesting controversial trends, I have to talk about praxe, which is a student tradition in Portugal, and it is meant to initiate the freshmen into the university institution and to encourage the loss of social inhibitions. I had a really good experience and I met all my friends thanks to these activities. However, in some universities, the older students sometimes take the praxe too far, when the initiation rules, jokes, and tradition are degraded and into humiliation and violence. That's why it is so controversial, a controversial topic in Portugal. Here we can see the first year students in red and the older students in the academic uniform. That's also traditional in Portugal. In terms of the key success factors for the employers for students when leaving the school, I recently watched a webinar with top managers from the Big 4 consultancies, and they all agreed we are the best prepared generation in terms of hard skills. Therefore, what they value the most is the soft skills: to be gentle, humble, the ability to work as a team, empathy, always be curious and willing to learn, were some characteristics they mentioned, but also what some people mentioned before, to some volunteer work and to have some international experience, to study abroad, and also the internships are important. About countries that we usually move abroad, between the 60s and 80s, the main country Portuguese moved was France, Canada, and the US. But now I think it's the UK, but that will probably change in the next years due to the Brexit. But since the establishment of the EU, it is easier to go to any country from Europe. So young people usually vary a lot from country to country, experience living in different countries. And the main reason for the desire to go are the low wages of Portugal and the little job offer in certain areas too. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Any question?
Sure. I have them as usual, but do you guys have them?
Yeah, I got one. No, I was I was always wondering, is Cristiano Ronaldo,
I was expecting that from you.
is he a real national hero in Portugal? I mean, a real icon, a real national icon, or I don't know. What do you think about it?
But we can talk bad about him, but other people can't. Like here, we can say that he's not so humble and stuff like that, but we are really protective of him too with other people. So
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Joana, so you mentioned that if Portuguese students leave the country, it's probably because of their wages that are pretty low.
Yes,
yeah?
Especially on the first years working here.
So you would say that interns, like business and economic students, but while they're working on their internships, they're paid or they're underpaid?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know if it's only here in Portugal. I believe it's everywhere, but especially here, they are.
Even in Lisbon, even in the capital?
There you have more opportunities, but also more people wanting them. So yeah, it happens to be the same.
So where do students go for work abroad?
As I was saying, everywhere in Europe, but maybe especially in Germany also. But UK, it's still the one that we go the most.
The UK?
But it's probably going to change now with the Brexit. We are already facing some issues and problems. So
why
it's probably going to...
Sorry, why isn't it St. Petersburg or Moscow? Have you considered it?
I don't hear much people thinking about it, but I'm going to try to pass the word.
Okay. And also, it's a pretty specific question, but if maybe you have some friends who study business and economics or management or finance stuff, is it common to participate in business case championships?
I know one friend that he did, but because he was also in a nucleo that it was like in his faculty, more or less an enterprise made by students. So he did that because of that. I don't know if it's usual for the other students.
Okay, thanks.
And I also wanted to add that it's possible to work without a master, but I think we have more opportunities with the masters, and also more opportunities to gain more money too. But I'm hoping for it. So.
Sure. Guys, then I have a question to all of us. Would we like to take a 5 minutes break or we go on?
Yeah, I would take.
Just 5 minutes break. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be great.
I don't mind it, but...
Yeah.
So let's just take 5 minutes break and then we'll come back. And we will listen to Elina, who will tell us more about Russia and the Russian education system. Prepare your vodka.
Did you bring some?
Should I prepare it too? I think I have.
So you prepared better than we.
Okay, we'll get back.
Okay, so 5 minutes, so the time is up. Let's get back. Are you back with us?
Opa? Russia.
Yes, yes.
Чтобы переключать просто на
Guys, are we all back? Because we don't see you yet. Yoran, Remet?
Yes, I'm back.
Remet, Bratan, where are you?
We are all here,
Yes,
right?
this.
He's this. Хорошо, bro. All right, so yeah, we can begin then.
Yeah. Okay, hi, my name is Elena, and today I'll tell you about Russia. Actually, we've already touched the topic that this territory is really large. Actually, the territory is equal to territory of Pluto. So you can come to Russia as a tourist, of course, and you can see a bunch of activities to be involved in. Like if you prefer swimming in seas, we are boarded by a dozen of them. If you prefer mountains, we have a really great variety of them as well. For example, the most ancient mountains in the world is in Russia, Ural Mountains. And even though maybe some of you don't like complicated activities, you can go to McDonald's. If you haven't known, the most visited McDonald's in the world is also in Russia on Pushkin Square. Also, you've heard about Russia as about a cold place, so it's Baikal, the most the deepest lake in the world. Also, you can skate there, ski there, do photos, pictures, whatever you want. It was about seas, now again about mountains. So it's Altai, where there are over 800 glaciers there, so you can do whatever you want with them as well. But if you don't like frosty sites, you can go to hot sites like Kulchevskaya Sopka, which is the biggest active volcano in the world. It's 5 kilometers tall, and it has already been active for more than 7,000 years. So please go there as well, whatever you like. Maybe you want to have Russia as a transit point, so you can go to USA. By the way, there is only 4-kilometer distance between these countries. But if you don't like USA or you've already been there, then you can choose another country from the list of 16. By the way, maybe the last interesting fact about Russia is that we are in some situation like a war with Japan, because we haven't signed a peace treaty since 1945. But statistically, we're the biggest lovers of sushi. So if you want to try Japanese cuisine, please come to us. Rather than Japan, it would be more, I don't know, eligible. So about education in Russia, main part of the presentation. We have 3 main stages. So kindergarten, school, and university. About kindergarten, it's most likely not an education stage, but a place where children come where their parents are working. But even though, there you can learn how to read, talk, other basic stuff like PE, arts, how to paint, so on and so forth. The main point is to socialize children, to make them feel comfortable in the society. About other stages, like there's a preliminary school. By the way, it's my school. And the main point of preliminary school is that you have a stated list of children in your class and 1 teacher. Except the teacher for PE, music and English, it's a separate ones. The list of subjects is also fixed. You can choose anything. You can everything is obligatory, and you can do nothing with this. So you can see the list. Thing is about middle school is almost the same. You have the same people around you, but different teachers. By the way, it's cadets. I don't know how it's called actually in English, but the main thing of this class is that they want to join some military organization or security organization. The subject list is also fixed. You can do nothing with it. And actually in school, you can choose anything. Just people tell you you should do this and you do this and you have no choice. Then the reason comes. The obligatory part is finished, so you can choose between high school, it's 2 years of studying, and college. Most guys choose high school because it's not that tough. But the thing is that in the end of it, you will pass final state exams, and it's like a real hell because the school won't prepare you for this, and you need to take some tutors and so on and so forth. Like you should, I don't know, you should jump over the moon to be able to pass it. Because it's like, oh my gosh. And really, it makes everybody cry. Yell or really cry, decide yourself, really. So if you pass, it's our university, by the way, State University of Management, the main building. And the thing is, if you pass the exams like almost on the maximum score, then you come to Moscow, St. Petersburg, and your education is free, which is not an average situation. Most likely you would pay for your education, and of course in rural cities the education is like cheaper, and in Moscow and St. Petersburg it can be like really overwhelming sum. So nobody would give you nothing. So you should pay, and pay with your own forces or with your parents' help, something like that. Nobody would help you. Not government, non-banks, nobody. So there is bachelor's degree, master's degree as everywhere else, but also we have a specialist degree, which means that you educated on some specific area. For example, if you go to bachelor, you can be a lawyer, just a lawyer. But if you go to specialist, you can be only a criminal or only an advocate, something like that, like really specific area.
We don't have a specialist.
Like for now, no, we do have in some rural cities still. Yes, there are. But yes, we are almost, this thing is almost faded in our society, but still we had it. But actually in university there are many more things rather than educate, because you can find any club that you want, and actually people don't just go there and quit it. No, they stay there for the whole time of education. Even if you won't find a club that you like, you can easily create your own one. Like Alexander, by the way, he created his club, Speaking English Club, and did it like really gratefully he did it. So we are here. So also in university, you can just spend your time, do some sports, do some educational stuff like debate clubs, speaking clubs, photo clubs, so on forth, many things, many different things. So after university, you probably would find work, but the thing is that most employers ask you to have 20 years of your experience in this job when you're only 30. So it's impossible, but we deal with it. I don't know how, but we do. Something like that. Thank you. Maybe any questions?
So how can we turn to the Teams?
Escape. Okay.
Alex, do you have any question, Alex?
I guess he knows everything about education.
We just hope it was illuminating enough for you and you found out something new about Russia.
Yeah, I have a question. How do you think like the general behavior from Russian employers are towards European citizens? Do you think that they will accept us like heavily, or would they prefer like Russian students?
Oh no, I believe they would prefer European students because it's like they're better educated than we are. But it's not actually could be the truth. Maybe we are more educated, but as a stereotype in Europe, there is a better education.
Okay.
Joran, I could also contribute to this question, and I'd say I totally agree with Elina, what she said. But on the other hand, in Russia, you don't have so much choice to work fully in English.
Yeah.
We've got many jobs completely in Russian. I'm sure it's much more easier to find a good job for me in Belgium, where I could work without the knowledge of Dutch, than for you to work in Russia without the knowledge of Russian.
Like really, we have so great, I don't know. I mean that even students that are international ones, they are treated much better than Russian students are. Like we have so many opportunities for foreign students, while we don't have them for Russian ones. Even in our dorm, we have a special floor for international students, which is much more better furnished, even so, than other floors. So if you're a foreigner and you want to go to Russia, you'll be treated perfectly, believe me.
Good to know.
But the thing is that our foreign students are studied in Russian, even though they don't know Russian at all.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so I'd wrap it up and say availability of English-speaking jobs and English-speaking study programs isn't that great. But if you come here, if you're a good specialist in your field, and I'm sure you are, you will find it for sure. Yeah. No, what I said about you as a specialist, I wasn't kidding. That's completely true, bro.
Thank you, Alex.
And what about the wages? And what are the reasons for you to wanting to go away from your country also?
Actually,
okay, not everything, maybe.
There are many reasons why we want to escape from our country. Because firstly, really, when you get the Russian education, you have no many possibilities in other countries to be employed. But when you have, for example, Europe education, you can be employed anywhere. And it's like really great. And furthermore, I would say that Russia doesn't give you that space for your education. Like the system says you to do something and you should do it. You have no choice to change something. So
I would say you must do it.
Yes, you must do it.
Not should.
And about I've asked once about being expelled. Like in our university, it's like really hard to get expelled.
It's impossible to get expelled in our university.
Yes, but in the same time, there are universities where you would be expelled. Like the main system of getting expelled is that you fail the exam. You have only one possibility to retry. If you fail it again, you're expelled. But in some universities, the system doesn't work, and it's the main thing about Russian education, that we have some rules, but they're not in work at all. So we don't know what will be the next day, because the thing that is written on the paper doesn't mean that it is true and everybody would follow it. Nobody would follow it.
Something like decorated.
I wouldn't be so sure. We've got 5 students that are expelled from the fourth.
From the fourth grade, yes. So the thing is that if you don't pass the exams till your 4th year, you will be expelled because it's the final year. But before it, no.
I think I got to interrupt and say we're really running out of time, because I already feel uncomfortable that I took so much, that we all took so much time of yours. So Joran, let's proceed with you, with Belgium.
Okay, that's fine. I will try to keep it as short as possible.
But anyway.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so first I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Joran, I'm 23, and I'm originally from a small town, Hamme, in Belgium. It's really lovely. I have a master's degree in criminology. I graduated last year, and right now I'm studying business economics another master as well at Ghent University. I met Alex in Ljubljana in Slovenia in 2020, where he was my roommate. I mean, my flatmate, not really my roommate. And my next Erasmus is going to be in September to Zagreb, Croatia. In my spare time, I do running, football, etc. Doesn't matter. So Belgium in general. Our capital is Brussels, and at the same time, it's also the capital of Europe. As you can see, Belgium is a very small country. We only have like 11 million inhabitants, so yeah, nothing too strange going on actually. But still, Brussels is still the home of the European Commission, the European Council, the European Parliament, and the Council of the EU. So actually, there's a lot of stuff going on. Belgium is also known for our like very difficult state structure. We have like 11 different governments, and I can't really explain it to you guys because it would take too much time. But understand me, it's difficult, it's horrible, and it should change. So Belgium is also divided in like 3 parts. We have like Flanders, where I'm from. We speak Dutch. We have Wallonie, where they speak French, and they have Brussels, where they speak French and Dutch. Also, we have like a little part of Germany, where they speak German. But as I said, it's a very difficult state structure, so it would be too hard to explain right now. Then our neighbor countries are the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, and France. A little bit of stereotypes about Belgium. When the people say Belgium, they say beer. Obviously, our beer is the best in the world. You can't deny it. It's lovely. We also make the best chocolate in the world. And the third one is an interesting one. French fries, they are not from France. They are from Belgium. And they will stay in Belgium for the rest of their lives. Then the main cities in Belgium are like Antwerp, Ghent, Brussels, Bruges. And then an interesting one is Monaco Peace. It's the statue you can see in the right top corner. It's one of the most famous statues in Belgium, and it's actually just a little guy who is peeing. It's really funny. I don't actually know why it's really famous, because it doesn't really look extremely rare to me, but yeah, doesn't matter. Then some famous people from Belgium is like obviously Kevin De Bruyne, a football player from Manchester City. Then we have Jean-Claude Van Damme, who is a really famous actor, and Stromae, who is a singer. He sings in French. So yeah. I'm gonna do this a bit differently. I'm first gonna focus on a lot of other stuff than school, but I'm gonna go quickly through it. So first I will talk about beer, AB InBev, Anheuser-Busch InBev, you can see it. It's the largest chain of breweries in the world, and it's originated in Belgium. You don't really know it, but it contains like a lot of beers, like Stella, Corona, Budweiser, even if you wouldn't think it is. Yeah, I don't know what the market cap is, but I think they contain like 40% of the whole beer market in the world. So it's good to know that Belgium is really about beer. It's also at the same time the largest public company in Belgium. And right now they have huge losses due to Corona, because all the pubs are closed in here and they don't really have a lot of offers. My personal favorite is a Triple Carmelite, which you can see on the picture at the left. It's a really good beer, and Alex has confirmed me that they have it in Russia. He's not a fan, but yeah, that's his choice. Our economy, it's heavily based on import and export, even though you wouldn't expect it. 80% of the export comes from Flanders, because we have like 2 big ports, and that's the port of Antwerp and the port of Zeebrugge. Antwerp is actually the 2nd biggest port in Europe. And at the same time, I'm a criminologist. A lot of drugs get imported through the port, and they origin from South America. So their routes are usually like from Colombia, Mexico. Then they go to the port and they try to traffic them in like these big boxes. And I will talk about the education system in Belgium. So at first you have the preschool, Then we have the primary school, the high school, the college, and the university. Overall, we are like the 16th best country in the world, according to education level. I think that's really good, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, I will go more in depth about high school. So, like around the age of 12, children need to choose, and they can choose like 4 different curriculums, I would say. BSO, KSO, TSO, ASO. ASO is mainly about general education, science, maths, languages. TSO is more about technical education, woodworking, cooking, ICT, etc. KSO is more about the art, the film, painting, dancing, and BSO is like more special education, preparing to go for a day job, etc. And it's a drop-down system. So the thing is, you try to start in ISO. If you have good grades, you can go to ISO the next year. But if you don't get the good grades, you need to drop down to TSO, KSO, or BSO. And it has a lot of influences for your further education in college or university. So my remarks on this is that ISO is seen as a smartest group, whereas BSO is more seen like a dumb group. And this is not my point of view, especially not because it's really controversial, but a lot of people think like this. Also, this system also a little bit determines a lot of your future, because like ISO really prepares you for college or university, as BSO and TSO, they do it like not at all. They prepare you to go to work right after high school. But if you are in BSO and you want to go to university after, it would be really hard. There are exceptions, but it's really hard. And then in reality, like the teachers sometimes influence you and make you make the wrong choices. That's like from my point of view. I had teachers in high school who said like, yeah, you're too lazy, you can't go to university, etc. Blah 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 blah. And I want to look them now straight in the eye and say, hey, I made it. Sorry. Also about high school, it's fairly affordable. It's not that expensive. I think it's like around 1,000 euros per year. But if you have like parents who don't really earn a lot, the government only you only need to pay like 100 euros, I think. And the last point I already told you about. Then university or college. In Belgium, there's a big difference, because university, you can go for a master's or a bachelor's, but college, there is only bachelor's. So the University of Leuven and the University of Ghent are like the 45th and the 103rd in the world ranking, which is, in my point of view, really good. And I will talk a bit more about college and university, because at college, it is said that you learn more practical. You only get a bachelor there, that's true, but you have a lot of practice, and I think that's really important. Whereas at university, you have a lot of theory, but you miss like a bit of the practice. And to extend that to like a working context, sometimes employees, they will look at your resume and they will see, hey, he went to college, he has a lot of practical experience, whereas a university student doesn't really have that. He has a lot of theoretical knowledge, but not really a lot of practical knowledge. So in that case, getting a master is maybe like a disadvantage. Yeah, then the entry fee is like a bit the same for high school, 1,000 euros, but if your parents like earn less, it's only like 100 due to our good social system. And a little bit of a discussion point, it's also from my point of view. So we have courses, and sometimes you only get graded once per semester. So for example, I had a course, just general economics, and I only had one exam. And if I fail that, I have to do it again. But I don't think it should be the system we use. I think we can use like a more extensive and more repetitive grading system in Belgium, especially in university. I know it takes a lot of effort and time, but it's an interesting point of view because I don't want to be graded to one exam for my whole semester, and I think you can all agree. Then the opportunities to do internships, Erasmus. I think that's great in Belgium because internships are very common, obligated in your curriculum, and the school helps you with finding a good place. So in that instance, I would say Belgium is really good for that. Also, we have the Erasmus program, whereas I think a lot of students can go, mostly students can go, and you get a scholarship for that. So it's perfect. And then right now, I'm not so happy with the Belgium education right now because we are completely online due to Corona and lockdowns and stuff. I haven't been to class once since, I don't know, March 2020 or something. So for like a full year. It sucks. I'm stuck in my bedroom and the government really like ignores the students and their voice, and I don't think that's a good situation we're in right now, but I hope better things will come. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, you can ask them now or like ask them later through my socials. I don't really mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, I got one very, relevant question. Is problem with Syrian migrants real? I mean, we see in the news that thousands and thousands of people from over there coming to Belgium like every day. So is it real or not?
I wouldn't say. There is. It's real that there are a lot of Syrian migrants coming to Belgium. If you view it as a problem, I think it also a little bit depends on your political point of view. Like Flanders, for example, is really right viewed. So they say like, they have to go all to their home countries. We don't want them here. Whereas the left parties are like, they can come in and whatever, and we'll give them good foods and clothes and whatever. But the problems originate mostly in the cities, like at the stations, the train stations, where they sleep and they cause vandalism because they don't have anything. But for me, I don't really have like a lot of influence from that. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, can I?
May I say first?
Yeah.
This room will be used for some other classes just in a matter of 5-6 minutes. So let's be really quick, okay?
Okay, so thank you for your presentation. I'm studying law, and I would love to find out. So you've been speaking about the European Parliament and European Commission. So do you think that it's really easy for a foreigner to attend such structures in Belgium?
I think it's easier than in different countries, true. But I think how you can get in, it's really hard still because I've been looking for vacancies and job opportunities as well, and a lot of them are in Brussels, but they require really a high level of education and a lot of experience you need. So I think it's worth a try, but you never know. So.
Okay, thank you.
So we got no other questions?
No.
Guys, then it's time for us to split to say goodbye. Yeah, Remy, sure.
I have final 2 questions, maybe, and for the Russian delegation, please. Maybe I'm just getting hungry, but you talked about the sushi and how you love it. I was starting to wonder, like, do you have your options of sushi, like pelmeni sushi or dumpling sushi or something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And coming back to the education part, you asked me if I would like to come to study in Russia. I would ask you back, like, would you consider coming to Estonia for exchange or masters or bachelors?
I would love to.
Yeah, I would like to, for sure.
We would like to go everywhere, but not stay in Russia.
Well, maybe that's a little bit exaggerated, yeah, isn't it? But still.
Broadcast YouTube channel.
Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, Remit, for sure. I would love to if I had an option, but unfortunately, to say it, like generally, we don't have that many options to go on exchange, to go abroad to study. That's a big problem here.
Yeah.
But if we had an option, I think all of us would agree to go.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have Erasmus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like we have such stages. First to go to the capital, Moscow, St. Petersburg. If we achieve this, we should go to somewhere abroad.
Yeah.
Like it's obligatory.
Yes.
So if we begin speaking about our problems, it will take us hours, I think.
Yeah.
So
Let's finish.
let us all give a good round of applause to our. I love you. I love you all.
Aww.
That was awesome. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No problem.
It was amazing.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So have a nice.
You're a great audience.
Oh,
Thanks,
we
Yoran.
agree.
Thanks, Yoran. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Спасибо большое.
Пока-пока.
Пока.
Пока-пока.